Hello everyone, this is Nicole Picadura coming from Altenew. We are going to focus on Altenew's crisp dye inks today. We're going to take a closer look at different sizes of inks that they offer, along with few tips that I personally learned in using these to achieve better ink impression. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the ink pads first. The ones that you see on the left are the full-size oval inks. The ones that you see on the right are the mini cube inks that come in square. So we will talk about those mini ink cubes in more details later on in the video. So let's set those aside and let's get close and friendly with our oval inks first. These can be purchased individually and as a set, and you can see that it comes in a nice black case like this. Notice that there are some grooves on the top and bottom portion. You're going to put your fingers there, just like I'm doing over here, and lift the lid off to expose the felt ink pad. That's where you're going to ink up your stamp sets. These are really handy to use when you're opening up the ink pads because you just know exactly where you need to put your fingers to expose the ink pads. These are water-based dye inks. They are specially formulated and act a little bit different than your regular dye inks. We will talk about those in more details later on. When Altenew releases new ink colors, they release it in 4 different shades that coordinates perfectly each other in each color family. So you can mix and match those to achieve great layering results. And obviously you can use those for other stamps like sentiments and outline stamp sets too. Before we get more into stamping, I wanted to quickly touch bases on the storage. This is how I store my Altenew oval ink pads. I use the ink pad organizers that you can get from different stores. I personally purchased mine from Stamp and Storage and I painted my cases in white. After that, I simply allotted a slot for each color so that I can easily see them and grab the colors that I need while I'm creating. You see those color dots that you see on the side of each ink pads? I'm going to show you how I did those. So here is the closer look at the color dots. I simply took out a label sheet that has adhesive backing. You're going to stamp the color with your stamp sets with each color. After that is fully dried, you're going to punch out the hole. So I used a just regular hole punch and I simply peeled it off from the label sheet and attached on both sides of the ink pads. That way, regardless of the directions that I'm putting into my organizer, I can easily see the colors of the ink pads and grab them nicely. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into stamping. I want to quickly show you how you can layer the images together using these ink pads. I'm going to use Red Sunset for these, and the stamp sets that I'm going to use are different sizes. I'll show you a couple different options that you can stamp them with. Let's start with Bold Blossom stamp set. This is 4x6 stamp set with 4 different layering images for the rows, and these are brand new. I specifically chose brand new stamp sets so that I can quickly show you how I prep the brand new stamp sets. When you first get the brand new stamp set, it'll have some slick surface. So here is the finished stamp that is fully dried. You can see a nice coverage. When you first get the brand new stamp set, sometimes you might not get this coverage right away, especially for large sized solid images stamp sets. So over here, I am just taking a light ink pad. This is blush ink pad, and I am going to stamp a few times. You can see that as I stamp, the blotchiness goes away and you will be able to get a smoother effect. So I'm not going to show you my full time, the whole time that I'm stamping this to prep it, but you will be able to notice that later on when I stamp it, the coverage gets much better. I usually stamp about 5 to 7 times to get the surface ready. Okay, so let's start with the outline for this stamp set. This is Velvet ink pads. So I stamped the darkest with the outline image. And I'm going to go the solid image with the lightest color, which is blush. And you can see that the coverage is really nice. The second layering image, I am going in with Rouge, and you're going to stamp right on top of the outline area. And all the layering guides for our layering stamp sets are available at altenew.com. So make sure you go to the website and click the inspiration tab, and you will be able to see the available layering guides, and they are going to upload more as we go on. And I stamped the last one with crimson. So as you can see, it's really easy to line up with the small images. The oval sets work great for large solid images like these. This is from Watercolor Wonders, one of my personal favorite, and you can group those images together as it is suggested in the stamp set to create a layering look. This time I am going to layer the images with different colors, not from a one color family. So I am starting with Frosty Pink. Since this is a lightest color, I'm going to go ahead and use my biggest solid image. And like I say, the oval is great for inking up the big images. Now I'm taking Peach Perfect to ink up the second layering image and layer on top of each other. So it's very different, but it gives you a fun and unique stamping results. For the next layer, I went with Cotton Candy, or actually Coral Bear, excuse me. And then for the center part, I went with Warm Sunshine. So this is more like a suggested use for the layering. You use one color family for each layer. So you have red cosmos and green fields. But for this watercolor that we just stamped, we mixed and matched color so you can see the different look. All right, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at these mini ink pads now. So these mini ink cubes are great if you are short on storage space or if you love the portability of just carrying the ink pads with you. Notice that the top labels and the bottom labels look a little bit different. The bottom ones are older label styles. When Altenew released 12 new ink pads a couple weeks ago, they came out with these updated labels so you can easily see the colors. So when you order these new colors and in the future with different colors, you will be able to see these on mini ink cubes. So these are so much fun. It's a 1-inch square cube. You can carry everywhere you want. It's also the pad cushion, just like the oval pads. I store my cubes into these tin cases that you can get from crafting stores. These are actually for mini distress inks, and they are actually called the tin case for the distress inks, but these fit perfectly and it becomes a good house for the Altenew cubes as well. So I keep all of my ink cubes in here, and I actually added the mini ink foam pad, the little circle blending foam pad that you can carry and use with the ink pad. So that's what I have for each of the colors so that they're not contaminated when I create a blending background. I love creating blending background with these because you can also create a bleached look. So it just comes in really, really handy. So this is how I keep all of my cubes. So if you need some ideas, this is also a one way to go. So let's go ahead and quickly stamp these. The mini cubes are great for stamping small sentiments, small images, and when they are first stamped, it looks blotchy, but as they dry, it'll give you a smooth coverage. So just keep that in mind. And also, if you're working with the brand new stamp sets, make sure you prep it like I showed you earlier with the Bold Blossom stamp set, and prep your stamp before stamping onto an actual project. The mini cubes also work great with big outlines, and you can stamp the longer sentiment as well. I would prefer to work with oval ink sets for like bigger solid images like the watercolor wonder images that we were working on earlier in this video. But with medium size images, you can pretty much ink up the images with these cubes and create a layering effect. So over here I have the rose petal ink pad sets, and I stamped the first one with the darkest color, and now I'm going in with the lightest color to ink up the solid image. Just make sure you cover the stamp set thoroughly with the mini ink cubes when working with these minis. And when I layered it, I went a little bit off, but you get the idea. But so you're going to continue working on with layers. So now we are going to work on the second layer. So we stamp the outline in the darkest color first, and then the solid with the lightest color. After that, we're going to go in with the second lightest color with the second layering image. And for the third layering image, we're going to use the third lightest, which is the second darkest color in this family. So rose petal color family is great for purplish pinkish rose that you're looking for. So now we took a look at the ovals and mini cubes. Now let's go ahead and check out the reinkers. Reinkers were just released just a few weeks ago. I'm sure many of you are happy. I am personally happy because I can always use reinkers. So I'm going to quickly just show you. My ink pads are not really dried where it needs to be reinked, but you're going to see the little bit of color concentrate difference. So these are highly concentrated ink pads and also reinkers, so keep that in mind. If your inks are looking dry and you're not getting a good coverage as you used to, just simply lightly squeeze the reinkers onto your pad and just go zigzag, just one layer. That's all you need. So the reinker bottle is going to last you for a long time. And just let it sit for a few minutes until it's fully absorbed, and then you can go ahead and start stamping those. So these are the coral berry that I'm using for the mini cubes and for the ovals. So because of the video sake, I'm just going to stamp it to show you the color, the concentration, but make sure you wait a few minutes and then come back to ink up your stamp sets to stamp onto your projects. So these come in really handy. You can actually watercolor with these. You can create spray mist with these. They are very versatile. So as you can see, it's a little bit more intense, right? But when it dries, you will see the similar coverage. So the Altenew ink pads are specially formulated water dye inks. So they're going to react a little bit differently than your regular dye inks that you might already have on hand, but that also gives you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to techniques. You can create watercolors with it. You can create bleached look with it when you have a blended background with Altenew inks and then spray clean water. So today we looked at closer look at these ink pads. If you are interested in color charts and also the swatches, make sure to go to altenew.com and click inspirations menu to download these to create your own swatches and reference chart. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please go to the blog post for today and leave me a question over there, and I'm happy to answer them for you. And I hope this kind of gave you some tips to get a better ink coverage and also get to know the Altenew inks a little bit better. You can visit altenew.com to check out the full color collection of the ink pads along with reinkers and check out the stem sets that they carry. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you next time with a brand new video tutorial. Have a great day. Bye bye.